Okay, I'm going to ask you a question right now.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first ever Doctor Who new series episode that is set on a planet that's not Earth-like at all, and that's not on a spaceship orbiting Earth?
I don't know.
It's this episode.
Oh.
How crazy is that? Think about it. Season 1 and up to now, Season 2, never had an alien planet on it.
That's true.
How ridiculous is that? I actually kind of annoyed me a bit, actually. The classic series was like full of them, like every single week. Like, you'd be lucky to get an Earth story, do you know what I mean?
That's how it should be. Earth isn't that important in the grand scheme of things. And London isn't. London definitely isn't.
Exactly. And it gets on my... Oh my god. Like, okay, Season 1 was like fully set on Earth. Like, the only one was like End of the World, where it was like on a space station.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know...
And that was about Earth still.
Yeah, and then also like satellite science, and still Earth. Again, New Earth is a different planet, but it's still Earth, though. Do you know what I mean? It's basically like saying, oh, the Champions League wasn't the European Cup. Do you know what I mean? Or the Premier League wasn't the league title back then. You know, it wasn't the Championship. They don't count. Do you know? It's like that. Do you know? It's just a refurbished Earth.
Exactly. So City have won a Champions League.
I know. This was the first alien planet. Like, so weird. Like, to me, I can't believe it's on so long. And also, if I'm correct as well, I don't think Season 3 has an alien planet either.
The moon?
The moon? No, that doesn't count.
Why not? Why not?
Orbiting around Earth.
That's true. Okay.
And Earth, you know what? And then I think about it, and then like Season 4 has like 3 alien planets, or like 4.
Yeah.
Because you have the Ood Sphere, you have Midnight, you have the library. Like, oh my god, there you go. And then of course, I mean, it's not Sound, but Stolen Earth Journey's End has like 26 planets. You know,
exactly.
That's why that's another reason why Season 4 is so good. It just feels a bit more fleshed out. Like the universe, not just set on Earth constantly.
The show is about an alien with a spaceship that can go anywhere. The fact that these showrunners often limit themselves to Earth and to London, or where's it based in again? In Sheffield, in Jodie's era. Stop being so lame and have fun with it, man.
Honestly, like, I think that was like a big deal about, you know, when like the third Doctor got TARDIS back.
Yeah.
Well, when TARDIS back, he was actively trying to leave. He was trying to leave uni. He was like, oh, Joe Grant, I'm so sick of this. Like, why do I can't keep chasing the Brigadier around? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm an alien. The universe is massive. I need to go places.
It's weird that 9 never got agitated once. 10 doesn't get agitated.
I know. It just gets so much. So, the thing is, in dialogue, they say they go to all these different planets. Like Rosen, but they don't. This is the first time we see them on an alien planet. And it's brilliant. I must say, I really do like the look of this planet. Of course, they don't really. It's set on a base on the planet, but of course you can see the outside of it. I think it looks really well.
Yeah.
Of course, it's also the type of Doctor I love as well. Based on the Siege, love it. Love that formula, especially when like it's not done that much as well. Do you know what I mean? Well, it happens rarely nowadays. So you know, I take it. Do you know what I mean? The base looks so cool as well.
It does.
The production,
I love that. Yeah, I love all the mise en scène in this episode. I don't know. I feel like I know the base too. I feel like I know my way around it watching it. I love when I can do that. Sorry, I keep interrupting you, but I was saying about how I loved. Well, I didn't love it, but I enjoyed watching the new film 65 because they go around exploring the planet. I want to know the setting. I want to know where I am. I want to know my surroundings. I want to feel like I'm the characters, and especially if it's a two-parter where you're spending time in that place, I feel like I should know it a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's a wonderful set as well. So
I love it. It's one of my favourites, probably. It's also the first time the yellow spacesuit is used.
Yeah.
Which keeps showing up. It actually showed up again in Power of the Doctor. 13th time they wore it. I wonder if the Doctor just realised, oh yeah, I got it off that space station with the devil. Maybe I should take it back. I probably shouldn't do that because it fell in a black hole. Never mind. I love the idea that it's orbiting a black hole and it could just fall in any minute. It just puts you in a sense of it just feels like they're on the verge of dying. Do you know what I mean? Something like danger's constantly around them. Like they're overlooking danger constantly.
Yeah. Well, I didn't like this episode when I first watched it. And when I rewatched it, I completely forgot that was the thing.
Or did you not watch it? Again, rewatch it.
No, I rewatched it. On my rewatch, I completely forgot that was the thing. Obviously, I remember good portions of the episode. My memory's not that frail, but I did forget the black hole thing. I don't know how, but I did.
Yeah.
So it is somewhat frail, but and that just I was like, wow, that is incredible. Like you said, that constant. The Doctor's shock is amazing. I mean, look. Tennant is just such a fantastic actor, even from New Earth, which is a terrible episode, and 10 isn't all there yet. It's still a fantastic performer, and his facial expression when he sees that black hole, he's like, how? And that threat of death, right? You're facing death. Right,
and it puts you off as well because it's like this doesn't make sense. We should be falling in the black hole. How are we here? It makes no sense.
Yeah,
the whole place is just off. It feels off.
And there's that horrible confusion of why is the TARDIS got us here? This is the worst place for.
Yeah, of course it falls down as well. And they have to realise that they might not get home. Do you know what I mean? The TARDIS might be lost forever.
And what a I mean, that's already an awful thing. But the fact that it's going to be there. Oh. Of course, they say they'll offer the Moleth back. Still doesn't resolve the issue of not having the TARDIS, which is a horrible fall.
Literally.
But the fact they're going to be there for the meantime, on the edge of death.
Yeah. They might not even get it off the planet alive.
Exactly.
There's no escape. Basically. It's almost like fate. Do you know what I mean? Symbolising fate. I want to look at the opening as well, where the Ood say, "We must feed, we must feed," and they're like, the Doctor was like, "Oh my god, what a great opening!" And they changed to, "Sorry, we must feed you. Would you like any refreshment?" I was like, "That's brilliant! What a great way to, what a great cop out! I love it."
I gotta say, Keane, that was an amazing impression.
Thank you.
I love the Ood. One of my favourite things to come out New Who.
They were so good in this episode as well. They were so frightening.
Yeah.
Like when they start getting possessed as well. When they start killing. Oh my god! Just the case as well. Episode 1 where they just constantly keep hearing the he is awake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so good. I love it so much. Just we don't exactly know what the threat is to start with, but then you just hear voices like Toby, like someone's whispering the voice, like someone's whispering their name in the background, like Toby. It's just oh my god, it's so scary. I actually felt scared in this episode, and it's how is this more scary than other horror films?
Well, I mean that's very, very, very true and a good question, but also relate it to the Cyberman episode. There's a lot of similarities, but one goes horribly wrong, the other goes really well. There's again the threat of the episode is under control from a higher being, and it's done completely different. The Ood are terrifying, and everyone is intimidated by them when they're under the control. But you also do sympathise with them because they're under control, because it's not their fault. When they all die at the end, you don't feel happy. The Cybermen, of course, what they are ultimately is terrifying, and you don't really want to be around them. But when they do die, it's a human completely gone. They're already not quite there anyway because their soul's been taken, but still, you gotta believe there's something in there. Like you were saying with the 10th planet design, there's still bits of human even actually there, present. So,
and I think what you're saying there is it's done so well with the Ood because they were so nice in the first episode. Do you know what I mean? Like when it starts off, it's like we must feed you. Would you like any refreshments? Do you know what I mean? Like they're being so kind. Do you know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
innocent.
Like they're slaves. Do you know what I mean? And then they rise up. Do you know what I mean? And then but at the end when they die, you're like, oh man, it wasn't their fault. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. They state that. They put it. They make that very, very clear that they weren't. That wasn't intentional from them. They're slaves. They're slaves.
Literally.
And you can even it's done multiple times in this episode because obviously I'm terrible with names, but the guy who gets possessed from the the curse that gets all the writing all on his face.
Toby.
Yeah, Toby. Again, he doesn't mean to do all the stuff that he does and say all the stuff that he says. When the other guy wants to shoot him and Rose stops him, you feel that sympathy for the guy despite what he's been when he's under control. And the Cyberman episode gets that completely wrong, and the Impossible Planet and Saint Pit gets it completely right.
The thing is with Toby as well, you feel sympathy for them, but you know he's already dead.
Yeah.
His body's already been taken over. He's already too far gone. You know, he's already dead.
Exactly.
The beast is just acting like it. Oh, I want to talk about. There's so much stuff about this episode. Oh my god! Just like the captain, he was. It's weird. There's like 8 characters in this story. Like they all have like their own personal story arcs.
Yeah.
And I thought they were all achieved like really well. The captain like scared of commands. Do you know what I mean?
And Ten has a nice talk with him as well. I really enjoyed.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. There's a scene where Rose 10 they go into the Ood habitation area, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And basically they talk about Ood said something weird. So, because Rose got a call saying he is awake.
Yeah.
And then when they say he's awake, and then like the Ood just look and going, "You will worship him."
Yeah.
Oh my god, you just completely freaked out. And then, okay. From what I remember next was Toby gets possessed, and that scene's brilliant. Where he's like, "Toby, I am behind you. Don't look.
Yeah.
Don't look back." And oh my god, it's just like it's brilliant. It's playing with your imagination. You can't see what it is.
Yeah, and also it plays with the audience as well because you're going, "I would so look. I want to look. The camera's not turning round." Yeah, carry on.
And then, like when it looks on like Toby's face, it's like their shoulders like blocking like exactly where it should be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're like, oh my god, and then he's like, I'm going to, and he finally looks behind and nothing's there.
Yeah, and you're like,
and
he's made a mistake.
And then like the writing come onto him, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. There's also
and then he's out. Oh my, it's so weird when he's outside. And then, like, the woman sees him, and he's like smiling. Do you know what I mean?
It's terrifying.
He's just smiling. I've got the image of it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's so disturbing. And then, of course, he kills her. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's putting his hand out, and she puts her hand out, and she's like, "No, we're not." And it's just she knows something's wrong, and then he just kills her. Wow.
Yeah. When she's trying to get back in.
What did you say?
When she's trying to get back in, to get through the door. She's trying to get through the door before he breaks through the window. And oh man, I was also thinking when you mentioned the with the Ood responding to the "he is awake." When Ten also he leans over the barrier, doesn't he, and he says it again, and then who will worship who?
Who's speaking to you? Yeah. Oh my god, the first episode sets up so well. It's so good.
Yeah.
There's like so many. It's like almost every scene, and then of course the drilling stops, so they go down, and you are like by that point, what the hell is down there?
Yeah.
Like what's happening on this planet who is this guy who's just possessed them? So it's just like, so they go down there, and then they see that city, like that ancient city. Oh, we're not even talking about this. So the writing, the TARDIS can't even translate it. So at first off, you're like, oh my god, what is this thing?
Yeah.
So it sets the mood, doesn't it? Everything, like the first 5 minutes just sets the mood over. Like everything feels off.
And yeah, but it's so rare that the TARDIS can't translate it. And he goes,
Yeah.
it's just so old. It's like,
Yeah. It's just impossibly
how old does it have to be? Yeah, impossibly old. It's like, yeah, how is it that old? What is going on? This has got to be something big.
And then they see that ancient city. You're like, what the hell is this place? Then they see the pit.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, what is in that pit? Oh my god.
And then
the end where Rose says, did you manage to decode it? And the guy, then you just hear Toby's voice, and it's like a different voice. He's like, I know what it says. And it's just completely different. It's more sinister. And then he wakes up and he's got his eyes again red, and the text, and he's like, and he goes, these are the words of the beast. And he taunts the guard, doesn't he? He goes, do you think your wife forgave you? And he goes, and you can see on his face, like, he's like, how the hell do you know that? But he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, let me tell you a secret. She never did. And he just like completely, like, you just gave him like years of backstory that you can understand in just like 1 second.
Yeah, that's a lot of talent.
Oh god, I love this. I love the first part of this. I love it. I love the second part. I'm trying to do like the first part and second part, separate them. Do you know what I mean? So I want to talk about every single thing in every single one.
I'm really struggling to do that because it's like when you watch that episode, there's an overwhelming amount of wow. Yeah. When you mentioned when they go to the pit and see it, like Ten's temptation to go in, and he has that little speech, doesn't he? So it's that thing in the back of your mind. Yeah, go on, do it.
Yeah, I can completely relate.
Yeah.
I mean, the conversation is so good with where the Ood speak through the comms, and then he. Oh yeah, also there's just the occasional words that he's speaking, but they're not listening to him. But he goes. So, what I love about this episode is we don't actually know what it was.
Yeah.
I love the messaging about it. The beam claims he is Satan. We don't know if he actually is, though.
Yeah.
Well, then there's also the question of what actually is Satan, because maybe he is. Because the Doctor says, "So what? You're the myth behind the legend. You're the truth behind the myth."
Yeah.
You're so that the Satan's just a legend. Do you know what I mean? The story itself is more powerful than the actual being itself, and that's what represents. The mind of the devil is in this guy, and if that escapes, that's the more scary part than the actual beast itself.
Yeah.
And the episode completely plays on religion as well, and faith. I think that's done so well. Like every single character have their own sort of personal faith and all that, and religion.
It's incredible that stuff like that comes out of a show, just a science fiction show, and it really shows the potential of every episode that you can play with. Like you said, the fact that it plays with not who is it, but even if it claims who it is, what is that? What does it really mean? It's absolutely incredible. It's the kind of stuff you see in like an Andrei Tarkovsky film where he's discussing life and death, or a Bergman film. It is absolutely sensational.
Yeah, I mean, like, so what? I know, just like what we don't even know what it is in the end. We don't even find out.
As we shouldn't.
Yeah, as we should. And then, but we'll talk about it in the end. But like, when they're talking like over the comms, and then the Doctor's actually talking to him, and the devil, I'm calling him the devil, the beast, calls him he says, "Oh yeah, you know me." He's like, "Oh, how did you end up on this rock?" And he goes, "Oh, the disciples of the light imprisoned me." And he's like, "Okay, well, like when?" He's like, "Before time." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Before time," and he says like before like the cataclysm or something like that, or like before the Big Bang or something. And the Doctor says that's impossible. Later in the episode, when he's speaking to her, he's like, "You see, the thing is, if he said he was beyond the universe, I would have believed him. But before the universe, I just can't believe it because that's my faith, that's my belief."
Yeah.
And he says, "I guess that's the reason why I travel, to be proven wrong."
Didn't they say, "Is that your faith then, Doctor?" or something after that?
Oh, of course he does as well. Yeah. The devil goes, "Is that your faith, Doctor?" And he goes, "Oh," yeah. The Doctor goes, "Oh, yeah." I guess he said. Then he realizes he's got him. He's like, "Oh, yeah. I guess it's a belief."
A few episodes ago was the Cyberman episode, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, the episode before this was that terrible TV one. No. Here we are. Wow, season 2. Oh, I mean, I actually don't mind Rose in this one. She has to take a bit of initiative in that, when she's up when the Doctor's lost.
2 episodes in a row where she does have initiative. This one, yeah, more again. But she's really starting to come to her own character again. I think in the opening episodes, even in some of the good ones, she's just not Rose, and she's also just not a character. She's kind of just played with as a weird love interest. And while it's still a love interest, she is her own character again. It's really nice to see. And in an episode where all the characters are so strong, it's amazing that the companion is strong as well. It's a bonus. It's not a bonus. It should be the Doctor and the companion are always strong. I think every character should always be strong, but the guarantee should be the Doctor and the companion are strong. They should be what you expect, and the companion shouldn't be a bumbling idiot or completely incapable. They can have their faults, of course, like the Doctor has.
Yeah.
But they should be able to hold their own. That's what everyone loves. We're not going to get into season 4, but that's what everyone loves about Donna and stuff like that, So
exactly.
You're right. Rose really does hold her own in this. So it's great.
You can tell she's learned a lot as well from the Doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, I love all the side characters. I'm just terrible with names anyway, but
same.
I remember every single one of them. You know what I mean? I remember the soldier who died in the tunnel.
Yeah.
I remember the captain. I remember Toby. I remember the little kid. I remember the girl who went down with Ten to see the city. I love that little side plot. What's most of the episode where like they have to like go through the vents. It's really like they have to like go through the doors and they have to like wait. Then they have to wait until I open one up and the guard doesn't get through. It's so good. It really gets me tense. Those scenes. I love it.
I was ready to mention it again. Season 2's weird, amazing use of space for fear. That vent scene where the Ood are in the vent and it's crawling towards the camera. It is terrifying.
It is.
I don't know why where Russell T decided to all of a sudden use space like he does in this. He does use it a bit in season 1, but it seems to be apparent like at least once pretty much every episode. There's a couple you can skip, but again in this, that event scene is horrifying. I actually do remember that a little bit when I was younger.
It's just because the main part of episode 2, like the actual. What's most famous for, which we're about to get onto now, which I can't wait, is the devil part. But yeah, that's actually most of the episode, though, where they're just crawling through the vents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should we talk about the devil? Should we talk about the beast scene then, where the Doctor finally confronts him?
Oh yeah.
So he lands and he's got air down there. So you're like, okay, what the hell? You're like, okay, what is this thing? And then there's like a caveman thing on the walls explaining like a story or whatever. And you get more questions. Like, what the hell? Like the more answers we get, there's way more questions.
I also
Okay.
love that. Sorry to cut you off again there, but I also love that he is getting some answers, but then he can't talk to the girl upstairs, and Rose isn't with him, so he's got all these answers that he wants to share. You can see him struggling.
Yeah. So he's like, so then he finds out there's people who are fighting him. The devil refers to them as the apprentices of the Elite or whatever, or something like that. So you're like, who the hell are those people as well? Who the hell are they?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who actually built the prison and had air down there as well. So of course he then meets the beast, and you're like, oh my god! You see that thing? He's like a massive person. He looks like the representation of the devil itself, but he's massive.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then of course he's speaking to him, but the devil's not speaking back. And that's when the Doctor realises that the mind has actually escaped, and it's actually been up there the whole time. And that's the plan. The plan is for the mind to escape, the idea. And he realises that's the thing that's the worst part. And he's like, what you are is just a physical form, but you're not the actual dangerous part. And then he realises what he has to do. The devil threatens that Rose will die as well.
Yeah.
I was like, normally, like, people go, I can't, but the Doctor just goes, yeah, I would though, and he just breaks the bar.
And I'm proud to say, this is the episode where 10 becomes a Doctor for me. It is.
I'm happy you said that, because I actually thought you were still going to dislike this episode.
Yeah, I didn't like it when I first saw it. I can see why though this time. I can. I do get what I was getting at. I think I was incredibly sensitive to anything weird a few years ago. My favourite films were like Spider-Verse and Dark Knight and Social Network. Still great films.
Yeah.
But, now some of my favourite films are like Naked Lunch and Scott Pilgrim and a lot of Cronin.
You know, when we got to like past like the Idiot's Land, or like at least past like A Girl in the Fireplace, I was like, oh my god, is he going to say The Impossible Planet? Yeah. Although I do think he got it in School Reunion. I can see why you're saying this. I think it is one of his best performances. 10 in this one.
Yeah.
Especially when he confronts the devil, it's brilliant. I've rewatched that scene so many times.
I love School Reunion. I gave it a 10. I don't have a problem with Tennant's performance. It didn't have it for me. It really didn't, and it didn't follow through for me. Of course, after this episode, which we'll get into later, it follows with Love and Monsters. But I don't think the Doctor disappears from then on. I think it does continue, and we do have a problem. There's no better episodes after this episode. In this season. In this season, for season 2. There's no better episode after this episode. But the Doctor stays strong throughout, I think, after this. Not just Ten's personality, which I think really is apparent after episode. After School Reunion, I think I get what 10 is. I just don't see 10 being the Doctor throughout until Impossible Planet.
Okay, I can see that, and I do find it ironic that both of the times, and even with 9 as well, but both of our picks were when the Doctor confronts one of the villains. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm guessing for you it's the same with the Beast, when he finally confronts the Beast.
It's actually just for Impossible Planet. I mean, just in the Satan Pit, the confrontation is massive, and of course it's a really strong statement. It's very Doctor. It's very Doctor, but I think just the way he carries himself through Impossible Planet, I can't exactly point my finger on it. It's very easy to point my finger on that confrontation because it is fantastic, and it's a brilliant. But before that, he is the Doctor for me in the Impossible Planet.
Yeah. Fair enough. I think we've covered everything. The ending was great. When he finally finds the task, and you're like, yeah, of course it was going to be down here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love David Tennant's reaction as well. He's just laughing. He's like, he's had so much bad luck throughout the whole episode, But the black hole there having to do with the devil, his whole belief system has been thrown out the window. TARDIS is lost. At the end, he finds it.
Yeah. Wow.
So, Is there anything else we've missed?
No, I just want to mention that. Do you think this episode kind of put the season in a bad place accidentally? That how do you get more interesting, especially with how badly the Torchwood arc has gone on so far? How do you move forward than the Doctor possibly facing what could be the devil himself?
Yeah, it did. Of course it did.
Yeah.
I think that quite a lot. I think there's a specific episode in each season where like it just overshines it, and it's very hard to. Okay, let me look at this logically. So David Tennant. This episode definitely ruined the last couple of episodes. Blink. I mean, first Human Nature and Family Blood for me, and then Blink afterwards, and then you had the finale. But it's like, how can this finale be that?
Yeah.
With season 4, the thing was like it kept upping itself every single episode.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, how are you going to beat Silent? Okay, first off, how are you going to beat Planet of the Youth? Well, then Science Library Forest of the Dead comes out later in the episode. You're like, okay, that's going to be the height. Then Midnight comes right after it. Like, Jesus Christ, that's almost as good. Or maybe as good. And then you then turn left right after, you're like, oh my god, again, that's good. And then the finale's amazing. Still on episodes then. That's why season 4's so good. Season 2, unfortunately, doesn't live up to the quality of The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit for me.
Yeah, because season 4 they struck gold.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm very glad.
It was only for one episode at the end.
Sorry, what was that?
I mean, they did hair, but it was only for 2 parts.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, but yeah, exactly. Season 4 as a whole, they struck gold. Russell, the amazing thing, like we've said with Russell T, and sometimes, well, even Moffat, Russell T more. Russell T would always just strike gold at some point in every season, even if it is it's bad of a season.
You are right, Moffat, and this is what annoys me. Chibnall, I'm not giving any of his episodes or even his run higher than an 8.
Oh yeah.
And even then, with that 8 out of 10, I'm being very generous, and I acknowledge that it's an 8 out of 10, close to a 7.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at this season's recap. This has been much more negative than season 1. Season 1, it was rare we were getting negative. Any episode that wasn't great, we didn't have much to say about. Season 2 does have a lot more.
It's superior to this one, but
yeah.
Let's compare season 2 to season 11, season 12, season 13. I've still given this season 2 10 out of 10s with stories, and as a spoiler, I am giving this story a 10 out of 10, and I've also given a 9 out of 10 to a school reunion.
Exactly. There's still even in the season which is just not brilliant, you still get that excitement of being able to talk about The Impossible Planet, Satan Pit, school reunion, Girl in Fireplace, the Idiots on it. So, I can't wait to have Russell T back. But anyway, we're straying a little bit, but that's what happens.
I mean, even season 7 or 6, although 6 had at least one episode. That's fair. Yeah. Season 6 and 8 had like one episode. Season 7 didn't have a good episode to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll get onto that though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like how we do look ahead quite a bit, because the show it is one show. We do need to look at it as a whole, but and the impact of it.
It's also a show about time travel.
Yeah.
Bouncing around different episodes does make sense sometimes.
Should we give a rating then? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a double 10 for me, easily.
Yeah. Same, double 10. And not just that, I have to say this is one of my all-time favourite episodes of all time.